One of the things I like to do in the mornings, now that I've kind of made part of my routine, is I like to let fresh air in before I go outside and I sit and I meditate. I've been doing that a lot lately, just really getting grounded with the earth, and it releases a form of energy, a frequency that we all have in our bodies. It's an electrical energy that I learned from the late great Dr. Christopher, and how he said that it's equally advised to go out and to ground yourself multiple times a day. So, and with that, guys, welcome back. I love to get fresh air in my place just to kind of cycle out the dust, the contaminated air, whatever. But I got a fresh cut this last week, and I'm feeling rejuvenated. Just fresh. I'm feeling fresh. So, some of the people I follow have done a couple videos on just approaching life with our inner child, and to enter the kingdom, we must become like or as like a child. So, there's some truth in that. And the kingdom, I was raised, so the kingdom, we can talk about the kingdom. I was raised as a Christian, as I've mentioned in a couple of my videos, teachings of God and Jesus. In the traditional sense, my beliefs have changed a little bit. They aren't actually the same as they once were, and I'm completely different as a person now. But there's some truth in that, entering the kingdom as a child, becoming childlike to enter that kingdom. And what that does is it's a form of energy that you adapt to, is what I figured out in my experience. You have this mental clarity that you tap into, and it gives you this frequency that you start to that you absorb into, and then all of a sudden you have this sphere of energy. It's the only way that I can really describe it, because I had an experience where I was kind of just stuck in this mundane mindset, and I was stuck in this tedious tiredness of just going through the days and the hours of work. And so that's why I can only explain it so to the degree of it being a form of energy that sparks, and it ignites and almost kind of spreads like a wildfire, is the best way I can describe it, you guys. But I had this weird situation happen to me the other day, and I wanted to talk about it. So I was at work, and I had been talking to some coworkers, and all of a sudden they had mentioned something about getting a new puppy. And I love dogs. I love animals. Animals are great. So, especially puppies and kittens, they're just the cutest things when they're at that age, when they're really small, especially when they're newborns. They just have that cuteness about them, and they have that kind of energy too, where it's just new, it's fresh, it's just starting out, it's learning about the world, it's growing. So that's the kind of energy that I kind of see with these animals in this particular situation. So anyway, I heard a coworker talking about puppies from someone who was selling them. So I got a hold of this particular person, and she said that I could at least come and see the puppies and check them out. So I was at work, and then she had hit me up out of the blue somewhere in the middle of my shift and said, "Hey, if you want to, I'm still kind of on your time frame because I work different hours of the day." And she said, "Hey, why don't you go ahead and come over, and you can come visit the puppies and see which ones you like." And then all of a sudden, I just had this weird just jolt of energy. Like, I felt like I was a kid again. It was just so crazy. I couldn't believe that I just somehow just woke up just like that. And like I said, it was kind of like a wildfire. It kind of just started with a spark, and then all of a sudden started to just catch the dry grass and leaves and the pine needles on fire, and then it just spread throughout the land. And it's kind of like the energy too. It's kind of like the energy too, where you get this fear that just kind of grows in your chest, and then it just kind of expands into your head, and then it just surrounds you like a huge circle, and it just ignites and it covers you. So after work, I had just had a jolt of energy. I zipped on over to the place that I was supposed to go to, and I sat down for about, I want to say maybe like 30 minutes or an hour, and I got to hold this little puppy. And if you guys are familiar with any of the species, they were a form of pit bull. It was a cross between a red-nosed pit bull and a brindle, which was also a brindle dog, but it was a pit bull breed. And it just made this beautiful color of a kind of a black and green camouflage, and it was really spotty, and it just looked so great. And this guy was he's kind of the smaller one and the most mellow out of the group. And I was like, okay, if I ever got a dog, it'd probably be that dog, because dogs that are mellow like that, they have a good energy and they're really calm and they're not so energetic. And so I was just kind of holding him and just feeling him out. He he licked my nose at one point, and as I was giving him back to the owner and stuff. And then another time I went over there again to see them and visit them, and I was holding the puppy, and I was just kind of like just holding him, and he was nuzzling on my chest, on my neck, and it's just the cutest feeling. And you get this feeling of euphoria and of goodness. Like you just feel so happy just being there and holding this animal, and just feeling the fur and the texture of what a newborn pup feels like. And at one point, which was really cute, was that it fell asleep in my lap, in my hands, as I was just sitting there talking with this lady, this girl that was selling these pups. So it was really good. And guys, it's like that. It made, like I said, it made me feel like a kid again. That's where we need to get back to. I think it's important that we get into those situations in that time and place where, we're not stuck or trapped in our aged mentality. We're not stuck and trapped in our body. Where we're at in life and this time in life. We have to go back to being a kid. And I think we have to go back and reflect on that, because if we lose that aspect of our lives, we don't find any joy anymore. I don't think we have or experience the joy that we once experienced as a kid. We never really experienced that again. And so I think it's important to keep that spark alive and to keep that energy with you. And at times to just let it out and let it be present, and to let it grow and move in your being, and to move through your mental state, to be one with your inner child. So, and that's what brings you into the kingdom. The kingdom brings you into a state of peace. It brings you into a state of euphoria. It brings you into a state of energy, of rest too. You feel so much rest in that state, because you're feeling like you once were at that time and place when you were a child. And so I think it's important that we don't lose that we have these little hobbies or these times where we just feel like a kid again. And it ignites that energy. It brings back energy to the soul and to the spirit. And that way you don't lose it. That way you can have fun on a whim with your friends, with your girlfriends or boyfriends, whoever's watching this channel. In your relationships at that time and space and being. And yeah, so I'm just rambling a little bit, but I hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from. And I'll leave a link down below for someone to explain this the best. But that was kind of my experience. Like, it ignited that spark, that energy that I had once when I was a kid. And I hadn't felt that in kind of a bit, in a while, just because the monotony of my job and my life and what I'm trying to accomplish and my goals and everything, and just getting stuck in that tediousness of the week and the week in, week out kind of thing. So anyways, other than that, guys, that's all I had to say. So don't lose your inner child. Become like a child. Think like a child to enter the kingdom. And I'll talk to you guys soon. So thanks for watching. Enjoy.